seniors, empty nesters, you boomers, whatever you want to call yourself. If you own a home right now, and what no one's talking about, but most of you are thinking of it, it's getting really expensive to maintain your home. And it's not just a few repairs here and there, it's thousands of dollars every year, just quietly just draining your wallet. And many of you are on Social Security, some have pension, but some have mortgage, you all have your thing. And like most people, you just focus on getting things paid, maybe your taxes and you're paying your mortgage if you have it, and your insurance, and just staying afloat. And yes, taxes and insurance, they're going up every year. But the real budget buster is the hidden cost of upkeep. If you ignore to upkeep your home, you're just not risking surprise bills. You could lose tens of thousands of dollars in equity when it's time to sell. And here's the kicker. Stick with me to the end, because I'm going to show you the exact strategies smart senior homeowners use to protect their homes, save money so that when you're ready to sell, you keep buyers from running away from it. Let's get to it. First, I like to talk about annual maintenance costs, the numbers. I'm a numbers gal, because numbers don't lie and I don't lie. I'm the real deal here. And experts say you should budget 1 to 4% of your home's value every year for maintenance and repairs. So if you own a home for like $400,000, that means you set aside anywhere between $4,000 and $16,000 a year. Not that you're going to spend it all that year, but you might spend it on something else bigger the following year, like put it away. But here's the problem. Many seniors don't do this, and some really can't afford it. I visited one of my empty nesters the other day, and they have to sell because they cannot afford to live there and keep up with the maintenance. And with the taxes going up, and it's mainly school taxes, they don't have any kids in school, and insurance going up. I'm a big advocate of lower taxes, especially school taxes for seniors. Come on. You don't have any kids going to school. You're paying all these taxes. But anyway, that's another video. But most people are just maxed out, just covering their costs, mortgage, taxes, food, all the cost of living. And boom, the water heater goes. And then you're writing a check for $2,000. Or where's the roof starts leaking and suddenly you're starting at $15,000 replacement. I cannot tell you how many of my empty nester sellers I know who thought they were going to cash out big, only to find out that buyers were deducting tens of thousands of dollars offers because the home just wasn't maintained. It just looks bad and it feels bad and it just feels like a money pit. I see buyers walking away constantly from deals because they see neglect, leaving the seller $50,000 loss in equity. Ouch, that hurts. So next, let's talk about, I call them silent killers that eat away at your equity. What are these silent killers? The stuff you don't think about till it's too late. There's a lot of stuff like that. But you have to realize some of it's bigger and some of it's smaller. But there's a lot of little things around your house that you could be doing. The roof's a big one, right? If your buyer sees curling shingles or water stains in the attic, they just don't think, oh, we'll need to fix that. They'll deduct, boom, $15,000, $20,000 off your asking price. So when you have a roof that's at the end of its life expectancy, close to it, get a roof estimate and let the buyer know, I know my roof's old. Tell them. They love when you tell them things and then you say, here's a credit for it. Not a full credit because it's not leaking yet, but here's a little bit of money that we're going to give you. So when you can put away, when it's time to do a new roof, you can think about us. Like, make them feel like you thought about these things. And then there's HVAC systems, right? Your furnace and your AC, if you have it, AC. They only last 12, 15, 20 years, maybe on average. Replacing them could be $7,000, $12,000, depends. And when they walk through a door and they see an old heater, like, oh my God, what is that? They factor that in their offer immediately. Again, older heater, I get an estimate, and then consider giving some kind of a credit or just letting them know. We know it's older, and that's why we do the pre-home inspection, because it'll say it's older. It'll say the roof's at the end of its life expectancy in the report. You put it all out there, lay all your cards on the table. I'm going to get to the inspection report in a minute of why we do that and everything. And I could be talking all hours about inspection and why you should do one ahead of time. What about your driveways? There's cracks in your driveways or it's not really looking that great, Stucco cracks, peeling paint. I can't believe how many homes I would go into and the paint outside around the windows is peeling. Like, buyers feel that that's a money pit, especially today. Buyers just want to walk in and do nothing. You heard that, right? If you've been watching my videos, you know that buyers want clean, neat, and they want just to do nothing. And then the gutters, wow. Gosh, gutter cleaning is so important. People see their gutters like filled with stuff on top, right? a $200 gutter cleaning can prevent $20,000 in foundation damage. Yes, $200 can save you $20,000 in damage in the foundation. I've seen it happen. Water seeps into the basement, mold behind the walls, all because nobody wanted to deal with a ladder. Get on the ladder and do it yourself. The gutter guards guys come out, boom, they're in. I know, I was sitting in my home office and the gutter guys came and they were there. I'm like doing the gutters while I was sitting on my second floor off, and then they were gone. It was done. Now I don't have to worry about it. But I want to talk about the domino effect. So the third thing I want to talk about right now is the domino effect of deferred maintenance, okay? It's really scary because maintenance neglect creates a domino effect. I just said that. And I want to say it again and again, domino effect, because one small issue triggers another. Clogged gutters lead to water damage. Water damage leads to mold. Mold leads to buyer panic and tens of thousands of dollars in lost value. You cannot sell a home with the 4-letter word mold, okay? You just can't do it, okay? Mold, it just leads to buyer panic. They won't even come in a house that has mold because you didn't handle it, the issue. And if you have a pre-home inspection, you would know that you need to do something about the mold. And what the buyers do is the average buyer mentally multiplies the cost of repairs by 2 or 3 more than they really would cost. So they see $10,000 worth of work, they're subtracting $25,000 from their offer because they don't want to deal with the hassle, or they're worried about what they could find underneath all the stuff. When you start taking things apart, other things happen. And the worst is the buyer's home inspector. These inspectors, a lot of them have these reports. And at the end, they put, here's all the defective items and here's what they could cost. Well, because buyers are doing inspections now, what the inspector does, he writes up this sheet and all his estimates are 3 times the amount of what it really normally costs, and it just gets the buyers all freaked out. It's like $100,000 when it only costs $4,000. It's like crazy. So for example, a simple GFCI, the electrical breaker that needs to go in when you're within 6 feet of water, right? Electrician could charge $75. They would put on the report $150 to $225. Yeah, that's what they would do. And that is why I do the pre-home inspection on every single one of my listings. I'm doing it for 31 years, yes, every single one of them. And it's a shark. It can bite you in the butt if you don't do one. It gives you leverage, not the report itself, but the strategy of how to use the repairs to create leverage. That's what it does. See, selling your house and saving money and netting more money it's just one thing. It's a multiple numbers of things. The realtor you pick, the inspection, your staging, your pricing, your marketing, your coming soon, your showtime, your negotiating. All these things add up. I just sold a house last weekend. The team in Philadelphia was a fixer-upper. It really wasn't a fixer-upper, it was an estate home. My past client, Bill Craig, who I love to death, and he just turned 91, sold his house 25 years ago. He referred me his nephew who was selling his father's estate. And he wanted things done quickly, and it really wasn't worth doing any of the work that we normally do on the houses. There was no return on investment here. I needed way too much updating. It felt like I was going back to the 1960s inside. It reminded me of the furniture and everything of Archie Bunker, if you know him. It was really bad. But it was cute, So we priced it just under $300 to get investors to look at it, yet get people who want to live there and fix up themselves. And people were swarming in the home. We got offers from $200 all the way to $320. And because we did the inspection report beforehand, they didn't do another one, and it showed all the deferred maintenance. And there was a lot of stuff. There was a little leak that we fixed it, but it was basically a good house. They got $120,000 lower than the other homes in the neighborhood. But one thing about the house, it had good bones. The roof was 10 years old. He kept up on some of the big things like the roof and the heater. And the gutters were pretty good too, but the bathrooms and kitchens, they were looking out of another era for sure. Some of the major stuff was good. And we got a great price, and it settles in 30 days. So they kept up on some of the things. If it wouldn't have sold that much, if the big items weren't taken care of, that roof and the heater, I don't think it would have. So just don't ignore these things or they're gonna snowball, okay? Very, very important. Work on that deferred maintenance. So next, let's talk about the emotional side of this, the emotional roller coaster. You wanna call it a roller coaster? Because nobody wants to spend money, say, on a sump pump, You'd rather take a vacation, right? Or leveling out your concrete, things like that maybe your walkway has tripping hazards. I get it, maintenance feels boring. You don't get the joy of maintenance, that's why, because you don't get the grit, the quartz countertops or the new shiny bathroom. But if you wait until this disaster strikes you, You're going to feel like you're writing a blank check. I've seen sellers go through absolute embarrassment when the inspector points out decades of neglected maintenance. Yeah, their faces fall, and they realize that instead of celebrating, they're going to be negotiating repairs, dropping their price if they don't do something about it. And that's why I think you should start earlier than you think. Let's find out what deferred maintenance you have. Let's fix it years in advance. That's why I work with people 6 months to 3 years in advance in my plan with the room by room, getting in your home ahead of time. Is almost like I'm your house doctor. My team goes in with a house doctor and we help you get ready for that plan, because you plan your house sale. Most people do. They don't just wake up in the morning and say, let's sell my house. Some people do that, and they definitely don't make a lot of money when doing that. It's better to plan it out. That's why I do the home seller seminars. That's why you should learn about this and research about home sales and come back to my channel and listen to figure this out. And on the flip side, I've seen sellers who kept up with maintenance. My gosh, they had reports and they're organized. They label all their things all over the house with labels, and they walk into this process with confidence. That's why you start earlier. They have receipts. Buyers love organization. They love the books. So keep receipts, create the log right now. Okay, start getting it done. Stop the video, get some pen and paper for figuring it out. What you did, how much it cost, and continue to do that until you sell the home. Comment below. Have you been doing that and keeping a report card on your home? Let me know. Let me see how many people have. Because as a Real Deal Realtor, I get all my future home sellers to do this. So when I go on the market with them, we're fully armed with the information. Buyers, like I said, they love organized information about the home in a written report. So if you're looking for a realtor who can work with you for that 6 months to 2 year period, 3 year period before you sell, so you can slowly get your home ready, I can help you with that. Well, if you're in Philadelphia and South Jersey, Philadelphia area, suburbs of Philadelphia, I'm in Montgomery County, Bucks County, Delaware County, whatever county. But since some of you aren't, I can introduce you to a Real Deal Realtor in your area. I just did one in Illinois, in Florida, and one in Georgia and Utah. They're calling me right and left to help them out because I vet the realtors for them. And as a matter of fact, if you know of somebody you think is good in your area, because they send you postcards in the mail or you see their signs around or your neighbor use them, don't assume that you should work with them. I see it all the time. Realtors get business in a particular farm area, but it doesn't mean they're going to get you the most amount of money. People do the path of least resistance. So when it comes to hiring a realtor, especially they do, and they just hire the person that hired the friend's house because the neighbor did it. That's a bad idea. So we want to find you somebody who's going to work with you for a long period of time to help you generate this process, like your house doctor. And we vet them for you. So do not hire someone who has sold other homes in your neighborhood until you know they're genuinely interested in your goals and putting all the systems in place that can generate the biggest return on investment in what you put into the home to sell it. So important, guys. I can't say that enough. And if you want us to help you, just go to realdealagent.com, all right? Okay, let's get to some juicy examples and data and things like that. According to Angie's List and Home Advisor, I'm going to use those examples. The average homeowner spends over $13,000 a year on repairs, maintenance, and improvements combined. I'm okay with that number, maybe a little bit higher, depends on the type of house. And that number is rising, Homes are getting older, materials cost more, everything's costing more. Some of the worst offenders could be like tree removal. So expensive to remove trees today. Pool resurfacing, if you have a pool, woo! I just had a pool, oh my God, it was like over $100,000 in repairs. Termite damage, $3,000, maybe $8,000. Insurance doesn't cover it. The garage door kind of doesn't work anymore. The window seals start breaking. Your siding is kind of falling off or fading. You have your walkway, tripping hazards, things like that. I once had a seller lose over $100,000 in value because termites had eaten through beams. They didn't even know it. They didn't know they were compromised. We found it during the pre-home inspection, but they had better maintained their home and been doing their records, and they would have found this. They would have found it much sooner. They didn't know they had some termites and some bugs. They didn't know they were termites. They didn't get somebody in there to find out. They didn't want to spend the money. It would have been $800 on a termite treatment and end up being over $100,000. So don't skimp out, guys. Call the Real Deal Realtor. Call me. Let me find you the Real Deal Realtor. Start this process now. So what are some pro tips? What can I do? What are some tips that I can use to manage the costs? What can you actually do about it? I'll give you some tips. And buyers love this stuff. You want to create a maintenance schedule for your HVAC. Twice a year, when you look at someone's heater, on the heater it says when they came in. People love that stuff. Love it. Gutters clean. They love to see that your gutters are cleaned every spring and fall. The roof inspection's every 3 to 5 years. So you have to put it into a book and people, oh my God, look at all these things that they've done to maintain my home. They feel like it's my home already. Okay, and then you want to budget monthly, take 1% of your home's value, divide it by 12, set that aside every month. Even though you might need it right now, you might need it later. You think of it as your home's health fund and your home's fund to get your home on the market down the road. Next, get an inspection, a preventative inspection on your house. A $500 pre-inspection before your list can save you from losing tens of thousands of dollars during negotiating. Like I said, it's not just one thing, but that's a big one. It's a big, big, big shark, I call it. In my Home Selling Sharks book, I have a lot of other sharks. I mean, I have so many. You can catch my book on Amazon or call me for a free copy. And then I also have my other book, Model Home Mindset. Don't forget about that one. And a new book called Turbulence coming out. Can't wait to share it with you. And how about some DIY stuff, like the easy stuff? Learn how to change your filters, all right? Caulk your windows. Flush your water heater. Not glamorous. It will save you thousands, and this list continues. And next, you want to use your warranties and insurance wisely. Because sometimes a home warranty makes sense, especially if you have older systems that could die at any moment. The heater warranties are always the best. Sometimes they won't even warrant your heater if it's too old, but it's not about being paranoid, it's just about being prepared. That's why I get together with my home sellers, 6 months to 2 years in advance. I already have, right now is the time I usually get people for next year, and I have a good 20 people already for next year who are going to be going on the market with us. So what if you're preparing to sell? Let's talk about preparing to sell and maintenance and how that works with the marketing. So when you're getting ready to sell, maintenance isn't just upkeep. It is marketing, okay? It is marketing. Buyers trust homes that look cared for. They see fresh paint, clean systems, updated service stickers. It gives them a real nice peace of mind. And if you really want to win buyers over, like I said, hand them the binder of maintenance records. Oh my God, I love it. Every receipt, every service call, every warranty. What we do is we take a picture of everything and put up online. They can read it before they even come see the house. That's a pearl. I've seen buyers pay $30,000 more for a home just because they could see the care that went into it. Maintenance isn't sexy, guys, but in the selling process, it is priceless. So what's the emotional payoff? What's the emotional payoff? Well, the thing is that every dollar you put into the right kind of maintenance often protects $2 to $3 in the future. Every dollar often protects $2 to $3 in the future. Very important. So instead of thinking it as draining your wallet, think of it as protecting your family's wealth. Think of it as keeping your future options open. It's like going to the dentist. You don't wait until every tooth rots before you get cleaning. You go regularly to prevent root canals, things like that. Your home deserves the same level of care, especially as you're getting older, as an empty nester. You really need to start making sure that house stays maintained. So you can live there longer if you want to, and not have to leave your house and get kicked out because you can't afford it. Now, you may be listening to all this and thinking, this sounds overwhelming. Who do I even call to help me? The good news is you don't have to do this alone. I talked about it a little bit earlier. If you're outside my area, I've built a network of vetted listing-based agents who have a listing-based business. All they work with is listings, like me. That's all I do. I know how to guide you through the process the right way. But actually, I'm with you along the way too. I don't leave people just out there. And not some random agent anyway. It's someone who's personally vetted, interviewed, and trusts with my own clients. So how does this work? How do I interview an agent? Well, first thing we do is we do a virtual room-by-room review with you before I hand you over to anybody. I want to make sure we can match the right people to you. I walk through your house on video with you. You show me around. And we go through all the rooms, we each room one by one, and go through all the deferred maintenance. We go through the entire home, get the deferred maintenance list, give you a complete list of what you need to do to get started, first, second, and third. You will love it, and everyone loves it. Come on now, it's free. I can give you a chance to show you what a real deal realtor looks like and what the process is. All you have to do is go to Real Deal Agent, fill out a quick form, and I'll personally match you with the right person. Don't risk losing tens of thousands of dollars because you didn't get the right advice. So start earlier than you think, and let's get started now, because next year's around the corner. It's October coming, and as soon as you know it, it's going to be spring. If you're thinking about going on the market next year, you need to be started now. So let's bring it home. Maintenance isn't optional. It's the hidden cost of homeownership that shows up whether you're ready or not. And the good news is, tackling small fixes today protects your equity tomorrow. So clean those gutters, service the HVAC, swap out those smoke detector batteries. Little steps can save massive headaches later. And speaking about protecting your equity, And don't stop here. One of the biggest threats to your home deal isn't price or financing, it's the inspection. So if you're thinking of selling, you need to see this next video. Don't let this mistake kill your home deal. It'll save you tens of thousands of dollars when it's time to sell. Thanks for watching. Remember, your home is only as valuable as the care and preparation that you put into it.